Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes with Landscape Business Course, and this is episode 2 of Zero Turn, the video series, and we are going to go to Oxford, Mississippi today. We're going to visit a company called Mastercuts. Oxford, Mississippi is a little college town, really centering around the University of Mississippi, and we're going to go to Mastercuts where there is multiple owners involved, and they have several different issues in terms of high turnover, a poor culture, and poor receivables in terms of their finances. And so we're going to work through those problems, see what they can do to improve, and the goal here is to get them to the next level. And for them, it's getting past that $1 million in revenue each year. They've got past $500,000. They're almost at $750,000, but how do they take that next step? How do they retain profitability as they grow and create a team that is sustainable as they continue to scale up? Come along for the ride as we go to Oxford, Mississippi, and Mastercuts. I'm Mike. Nice to meet you. Cass,
Huntington. That's Chris.
Chris, crew lead. Awesome. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet Mike. Chris.
Yeah, totally, man.
You had a good flight?
Yeah, short night, but we got in and then our rental car place they'd already closed.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So we were able to, get someone else to get something for us.
Dang.
So.
We're able to get one right.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Good. Glad to have you guys here.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It's gonna be fun.
You meet Huntington already? You met Braden?
Cool place.
Where's Clay? Braden right here.
Clayton?
Braden.
Braden.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I'm Riley.
Hi, Riley.
Nice to meet you.
That must be who's training. Scott.
Yeah, Huntington.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right.
You did a podcast recently about if you had $100,000, you wouldn't build a shop first.
Right.
And I understand that. We hit a lick. We did a big install job during our first year of being open. So we started in May, and in December we did about $115,000 job. We had a margin on of like 40%. We did really well. Morning, Milton. And so we had some money, and we used that to get this started. We hadn't hit another lick like that since. We got some stuff on the horizon right now. We just signed, you'll go by the job, but just this week we signed up a $115,000 job, residential front yard. Cool. Really big job. We've got 2 paver patio jobs that are in the works but not signed yet, but we feel good about them. Yeah. We know they're not working with anybody else, so, but we hadn't talked numbers with them yet, but they know this stuff.
Yep.
And they've got the stroke to do it.
Yep.
So anyway,
You're hoping that kind of covers some of the, because it's probably
it's
twice
so
as much.
our biggest. Oh, this building certainly costs twice as much as I wanted it to, no doubt. This thing has been a money suck, and right now we're in this limbo spot where all this money's going into this. I'm ready to get this done, get this thing sealed, and just get it running correctly, and then our finances. I think our biggest problem right now is going to be my number one question we talk about is we are having a terrible time with collections, with receivables.
Yep.
So bad.
Yep.
Last month, to start the month, we had over $90,000 out, and we had next to nothing in our account.
Yep.
And the stress level is so high, and payroll is $8,000 to $10,000 right now a week, and you need that money. We've got some in. We were doing better, but I bet we're still. I'll look it up later. I bet we're still at 70,000, and we're getting toward the beginning of next month.
Is that mostly 30 rolling, or like you 90, 120 people rolling back to?
Mostly not. We're usually getting them by 60. You're asking days old by 60. Some are older than that, but most of them are by 60, and it just puts such a strain on us.
Residential or commercial?
Mostly
that are like late.
50-50. We don't let those big commercial stuff. Obviously, if somebody owes $10,000, I'm gonna call them the day it's due and say I really need this. But for the guy that owes 50, we're not doing the same. So and that's part of Huntington's in week 2 or 3 of his career with us, and that's going to be one thing that he monitors every single day. We've got to finalize. We've talked some. We've drafted letters. We've just got to figure out a plan that works. And kind of stick to it. But the biggest part, the reason I am so confident in this business and willing to put a lot of money into it, is because Chris Blackwell can sell. He was in stocks and bonds and stuff before this, but he's a country boy and he kind of knows hard work and he knows machinery, but he can sell.
Okay.
So our problem, we have no problem getting and finding work, and we're getting the work done.
Right.
Our only problem, real big problem right now, is getting paid for that work.
Right.
So that's
Okay, cool.
That's kind of it.
All right. After meeting Chris and Cass at the shop in the morning, all the team members were coming in and they were going to have their weekly team meeting. So we went ahead and joined them for that. And then I wanted to go out into the field with Chris and do an estimate, and then also meet Riley, who has been the office manager at Mastercuts for quite some time now.
All right, guys. Some of y'all know Mike and his crew is here today. This is the guys. He'll be walking around, coming and follow you guys, seeing how we operate at Mastercuts Day internally and outside as well. So he'll be with us, the managers and owners inside, going through some books and marketing, helping us, and then he'll come out and give input on what we're doing, out in the field, and also just see how we operate. So today when he does show up, don't get skittered, don't get worried, just cut grass, do like you're doing, or do whatever you are scheduled to do today. If he does come ask you questions, just talk to him like a normal person. Don't be afraid of the camera. We are short-handed today. Burgess is gone, family vacation, which was scheduled months ago. CB had a loss in the family. Dalvin had an incident with his mother last night. I had to take her to the emergency room. And Jay is, I guess, sick today, so we're having to move people around. It's part of it. You know what you got to do. That's why y'all are here. So, basically, let's just get the job done and move on like it's a typical day. Anything, Cash, you got it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember, it's going to be somewhere around 100 degrees today, and you're running short-handed, so it's going to be hot. Don't overheat yourselves. Be safe. If you do get overheated, take a break. If you throw up, you got to go home for the day. So just keep that in mind. And the only other thing, and Chris talks about this every other day, but just always remember that 90% of the people in the world can cut grass, but there's only 10% that sort of do it right. And we want to make sure we're in that 10%. The edges are done, everything's blown off correctly. Those little things is what really makes a difference. So, and who's the boss, right? Who can tell me who the boss is? The customer. That's right. We're not your boss. They write the checks. They write the checks to us. We write the checks to you. So just keep in mind you're always either being watched by us, a current customer, and also a future customer. Every day you're interviewing for your next job. And so I think that we are absolutely the same. That's why everybody has a uniform, khaki pants, hat. We want to look professional every day when we're riding around. Whether you're in the truck or you're out working, you're getting watched. You're sort of interviewing for your next job. And for those of you who are kind of on the lower level of our organizational structure, if you're running mowers and weed eaters, whatever, well, we're watching you and we're paying attention to what you do. So you're sort of interviewing for your next job to move up with the company. So just make sure you do that extra 10%. Because we know there are folks. We talk all the time about the other companies in town who don't do that extra 10%. And I really think there's one, maybe two, that really hit that other two besides us that hits that 10%. So make sure and get the 10%. Chris?
Guys, you got it? 10%. Perfection. I love it. Keep everything clean.
Right. It's probably going to be a long day. Y'all make sure and hydrate.
Yes, it's going to
we're
be very
short-handed.
long.
We got a lot of stuff to do.
But, again, like Cass said, stay hydrated, but don't take dumb breaks. Please. Go to the truck, get your water, go back to work. You know the rule. All right? Let's go, guys.
All right, guys.
See you at the gas station. Go get that up. totally. But some of our competitors around here have been in the business since the 90s.
Yeah.
And what I found from our standpoint of how we grew so fast is customer service.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. That's why we pride ourselves. We don't really have we're growing our team more experience.
Right.
You know, getting more experience as the days go on. But our back office with Huntington, Riley, she was the key, just answering the phones.
Yep.
That's, I mean,
it's a differentiator between the guys we pass that are just mowing, right?
Yeah.
They don't have anyone to pick up the phone and they call the next day back, right? Emails are 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
So
we try to, I mean, one of the things we pride on is that Huntington learned, but we stayed on Riley forever, and it took a while to understand it, but 8 o'clock in the morning, I mean, the phone rings on Saturdays.
Yeah.
We pick it up.
Yeah.
Sundays we pick it up.
Yeah, totally. How do you have that set up now? Does it go directly to his cell phone?
No, he has the work phone.
Okay.
So I don't think we'll
that
ever
number when the truck goes
to
there.
that phone.
Gotcha.
I don't know. That's something we were talking about later on the business thing. I've never really had. I'm trying to follow these zones around.
Yep, go for it.
We had one issue up front.
Yep.
I don't know how the office phone would kind of work.
Yep.
I'm sure. I know in your podcast or your videos, you have people actually have hard lines or somebody sitting in there,
right,
answering the phones. Me, I guess when the office is, I've just never, the hard phone kind of went away.
Yep.
In my standpoint.
Totally. Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean,
yeah, like, well, the problem with ours, like our cell service where we're at, both our shops is pathetic.
Yeah.
And then what we do is when people call, they're just calling like a number that basically goes to our internet. Like we use phone booths, we can use Google Voice, whatever, and that splits it to whoever it needs to go to.
I got you.
So, like for instance, if someone wanted to do like an estimate or a delivery or whatever, something like that, they're gonna call a certain office, like press 1, press 2, that sort of thing. But the thing is, like, if you have great cell service and like if he has a phone on him, it's great to just route that to them.
Sorry about that.
It's fine. No, like it's great to be able to route it straight to them, right?
Yeah.
Like if he's able to get most of them, and then like if he doesn't pick up, it just goes to this voice message, and then he gets followed up.
So I have like a bunch of questions about the efficiency of running that office. Even though I'm kind of leaving, I'm sure it would be so help Huntington.
Yeah, totally.
One of them is like, how do you, like, okay, so Chris, I would make a schedule, I talk to all the customers and everything, and there would be times that I put stuff on his schedule, and then for whatever reason, he just like doesn't do it, like he gets caught up with another job, and then I don't know about it until like the next day, and so I tell him, like, if it's on your schedule, just do it, and he's like, it's not that easy, like, some job might get backed up, and I'm like, well, then you need to call and tell me that. So like, how do you guys stay
communicating? Like that's what I've already noticed. So like we use an app called WhatsApp. So we have multiple groups of different individuals. It's similar like group iMessage almost. But it's a little more structured. You can see when people get messages. You can send voice notes. So like you're constantly in communication. You can set up one for crews. We have like I have one for the office. I have one for the managers. I have one for the whole team. And so, for instance, like this morning, like corresponding like where everyone's at. Like, even like, oh, I'm gonna be late to this appointment, and then just letting you know, and then you can like call them, or like if you've made notes that hey, they're only gonna be home from 2 to 4 p.m. You know, if you go at 5, they're not even gonna be there. It's super valuable.
We like so I learned very quickly. He'll call me all day long. I'll call him with my questions all day long. And so we learned pretty quickly that if I'm not writing it down as he's telling me this, or seeing it as a message, then I'm likely gonna forget about it. And so we do call each other all the time and like send text messages, but maybe specific group messages with
voice notes are like the best thing in the world. Because you can be doing it while you're driving. It's super fast instead of texting. And you have a note, like a transcript of it. So he can rattle off like a whole bunch in a minute. And then you can like email that to a customer or like go back and listen to stuff over again. But I think like I really feel like Chris is an amazing salesperson.
He is.
And he needs to focus on that.
He used to be a financial advisor before the storage unit stuff. And he was, I would say, one of the top 5 in the South. It was doing like huge clients. This was before I knew him. When we first met, he was at the very end of that. And so That's what Cass always says, like, he could sell you on anything.
Right.
So he is good at that. And like, when he comes up with his numbers for different jobs, Cass is like, there's no way they're gonna accept that. Like, you need to like make it less expensive, and sure enough, they always accept it.
Right.
He can convince anybody they need anything.
How does it work right now, like with the estimates? Like, so he goes out, talks to the client, does he send back to you and you make the estimate, or how does that work right now?
So I'll put it on a schedule, like, this person called, here's all their information, and they want this kind of work or this kind of job done, or they don't really know what they want, but they know they need something.
Right.
And so I set it up for him. Sometimes the customers are like, I don't really care when you go, or sometimes they
want to meet him.
Yeah. And so I set it up based on that, and then he'll go.
Do you set up time frames for him to be there?
Only if they have a set time.
Okay.
He wants to do it where he has quotes only on certain days between certain times.
Right.
I haven't quite done that.
Right.
Just because if I see an open spot, and like I can kind of tell when a schedule's too full.
Right.
But if I see an open spot, I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah.
But
do you schedule his day by hours, like where he's gonna be at and stuff?
Not really.
Okay.
I think that's partly because I have a hard time knowing how long certain jobs take. Yeah. But so he'll go and he'll do the quote, and typically what we expect is he goes to do the quote, then he'll give me that information, and then I'll type it up. And I've got like templates I've got, if it's just like a maintenance contract or if it's a job. If it's a specific job like drainage or something, he'll sit down with me because I don't know the ins and outs of it. But if it's just maintenance, I can do that. And so he'll sit down with me, or I'll just type it up and then I'll send it out to customer. And so our goal is to have a quote back to them within like 48 hours. But lately he's been so backed up that these quotes keep getting backed up, and I have to constantly stay on him, and I'm like, you have a lot of quotes that we have to get done. And so he'll do them all at once, but it's like they should have been done last week.
Really? Okay.
So
what is holding him up, do you think, like as far as on a day-to-day, besides like quotes and stuff, but that's what we need to focus on, but like other stuff, like it's just like for instance, he was like fixing a sprinkler this morning, stuff like, is it like little piddly stuff usually? Yeah, or he's kind of pessimistic, like if something can go wrong, it will. And so he just stresses, and like we've had trucks break down, and then he's all concerned about that, and he's like, I'm at this job, I don't have time to focus on this, like I gotta get this done. So I think he's trying to prioritize, but it's like, well, for me, I don't know, I'm not as lenient, but I'm like, you still have to go do this, like you can't just put this off for 2 weeks or whatever it is. After being out in the field, seeing the crews at work out mowing yards, and following around with Chris and Riley, I wanted to sit down with some of the management team and the owners from Mastercuts and go over some of the preliminary things I saw as issues or things they have been struggling with, and see if there was a way that we could create systems, get Chris out of the field and into the sales role, and really start focusing on the culture of Mastercuts. Stuff like, why do you think it's the turnover is the way it is?
What do you mean, employees?
Employees.
We've got to hire better. We've got to screen better. The problem is we have so much work right now, it's just like taking what we can get, and if they don't work out, they don't work out. Hire. It's the complete wrong way to do it. We just don't have, I feel like we're so backed up that we don't have the time to really do the necessary screening to hire the good workers.
Like, you're going to discourage the people that are good by having the big turnover, and they're going to leave. By having that many people coming through, the A players get discouraged fast. Because even if they see the growth and potential of the company, they don't start to see like traction of people staying and creating a team. And then what happens is the people who do come on don't get trained well because everyone's expecting them to possibly leave, even if they do have great potential. And so what ends up happening, we treat everyone like they're gonna leave, and most of them do. And so the mentality is, hey, don't put too much into them in case they don't work out. But then we can't expect them to put anything into the company, right? They aren't gonna show their value and like how much they love the company if we can't like invest in them.
And give them an opportunity.
You have to have a team that you trust. And so like that's step one, right? Like honestly, when I was at the team meeting this morning, there was no connection like between you and Cass and the guys. There's none. It was employer-employee, 100%, right? Which is great 20, 30 years ago. right? When people like showed up to a job and worked 20 years there the rest of their life, or 30 years or whatever, right? Now people have options, the labor market, they have options, right? And so you have to create that connection. You have to give them purpose and meaning to show up to work. First day is orientation, and it's talking about the vision of the company, right? And so still, even with our company, first day, 4 to 6 hours is with me personally. Like this phone goes off and I'm with them 100%. I take them out for lunch, I drill them with what we're about. I talk about, you know, my history, why I started the company, the big picture. I want to know about their family. I want to know about what they went to school for. I want to know about their dreams, their aspirations. And like the entire time, you're literally, like the same way you take notes about a client is when I'm doing that first day. Like I'm never going to have that again with them. Never. Right? Unless they, you know, are with us for a long time, become a manager of some sort. Like I'm never going to have a 4 to 6 hour one-on-one with them. During that time, it's like mental note. What's their goals? Where do they want to be in 5 years? What can I do to get them there? Like we just hired someone last week. I knew his little baby was going for surgery Monday. So like we're gone, but I gave him a call like, hey, what's up? So like that connection is what's going to keep them. In my opinion, I feel like that's what's going to keep them around is that connection. And if we don't have like that investment, you're going to strike out sometimes. Like you're going to like have a 4 to 6 hour, and we've done this like, and then you fire them 2 days later. Yeah. It happens. But the amount of people that are going to be pretty good that you could turn into great one day that will leave because you don't invest in them on the upfront is what you're losing out on, right? Our actions are going to speak 100 times louder than our words. Sure. And so like if we don't like really prove it to them, we can't expect them to like give back to us, right? If I can't give them 100%, I cannot expect them to give me 100%, right? That makes sense. And so I think they buy into that. I think they buy into us as owners first and then the business, right? Yeah. And so when you're doing the hiring process, if it's too easy to get in, they're knowing in their mind, they're like, okay, they obviously don't value me enough or an employee enough to spend the time to get to know me, you know, interview me, look into my history, do a drug test. Like that screening process is actually like a way of not just screening out the bad people, it's telling the good people that you actually care. You know? Yeah. And that the people that have got on the team have came through the same process and they're of your caliber. Like you're gonna screen out the C players, but the people who are great, they're gonna actually enjoy the fact they have like multiple interviews and it's not easy to get in. Yeah. Right? And it's not like the next day you're on the crew. Right? To have that process is valuable for them. The thing is too, like you can either be very policy driven or completely cultural driven, and you want to go cultural. Like if you just make policy like very clear, like what strike 1, 2, 3 is, when you get fired, what's allowed, what's not, you can be that, or you have that in your handbook, but we never look at it. Like we never have people late to work, never. It never, ever, ever happens. And it's because we're cultural driven, right? They know why they're showing up to work. They will feel bad. Everyone else will make them feel bad if they show up to work late. Like, trying to make that is super important. Like, I couldn't be here, and you probably couldn't go, like, if you couldn't depend on people showing up to work, right? You gotta be full-time in sales. Like, that's how this company grows. Yeah. That's how you go. Like, right now, you will kind of stall out, and that you'll see growth, but not like you have until you're full-time sales, right? And I don't mean full-time like you can't do anything else, but like, that should be the #1 goal of the company, right? Yeah. As far as getting you out of fixing the sprinkler head, running a plant here, doing that, right? You know, and so, but in order for that to happen, you have to have a team that you trust, and that's what's not there right now. You don't trust them to manage a job or trust them to like talk to a customer and carry, you know, resolve an issue, you know. And so when you're carrying all those things, eventually you start dropping them. Right? And you're fine now, but like if you're gonna double it, you have to start being able to hand those things off. Yeah.
It's gotta be. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Burgess is the role. I wish he could have been here because he'd have been sitting right here with us. Yeah. He is the guy we're trying to mold into that.
Yeah. And I think too, like even, you know, you've probably heard me say it before, like becoming systems dependent instead of personality dependent, because like if he leaves tomorrow, you got a problem. Yeah. You know, if you know she's out of the business and then he gets sick, you're in trouble. But how can you create the systems that like someone else can hop into their role, or there's a backup, or
how do you do that? I mean,
yeah,
how do you prepare for that right now?
Yeah,
that has been one of our biggest fears. If we do train Burgess to get to that point, and he is that guy, and then all of a sudden somebody over here comes and offers him $10 more, or he just, I don't want to do this anymore, just leaves.
Yeah.
Now, how do you prepare for that?
He's trained every other person here.
He keeps training below.
If you have a paver installation, you're cycling people through on that job with him. Yeah. He's the project manager. He's going to be communicating with the customer, communicating with the office. But like, there's been 6 people install that paver patio with him through the process of a week or 2 weeks, right? So that if he gets hit by a bus, they can go still do the paver install next week, right? There's a dip in efficiency when you do that by having like everyone trained on one thing. And you have to kind of recognize that. It's better to have an install crew that does the same thing all the time. They just do installs. They eventually have a paver group, right? That's all they do is pavers. But the problem is if you have one person that's all leaning on, and something happens to them, you're in trouble, right? And if it's irrigation or whatever it is, and then you have to start thinking about yourself. If you got hit by a bus, what is the things that's going to like bottleneck the company? And if it's irrigation, if no one else knows how to do irrigation, you're toast, right? And then that's when you really can start to scale the business. When you step back and say, okay, everything's gonna run itself by like operationally, now I can work on the business and start working on like sales. And like we were talking today, like there's times when we're like a week behind on getting to a bid because we're just so busy, right? And we're just fighting fires and we're just trying to get stuff done. But like if you're gonna go from like 70, 80,000 a month now, if you wanna get over 100, 200, like that's where it's at. Is you got to be in, like the 24 hours of like a call. Yes, he'll be there at 2 p.m. this evening or this afternoon. You get there, estimate sent to them by 4 o'clock. They're accepting that evening.
What did we send out?
Sorry, what?
Like
receivables.
3 days before the bill's due.
Oh, it's just a reminder that your invoice is due in 3 days. If you've already sent it, payment in, disregard, something like that. I have the template, but
yeah, like there's a balance. Like at first we go really soft, and then we go hard by stopping service. Like you can threaten them all they want, but when you stop service, now they're either going to complain and get it out of their system, or they're going to pay up, right? And if they're happy and they've just been not getting to it, they'll pay up. Now, if there's a complaint, you don't want that to come out 4 more months later and you lose all that money anyways, right? So usually, I think it's most important is actually on the invoice, how you word it. So I don't know if you heard on the podcast, but like we changed our verbiage to basically change it to 15 days. And then, but we didn't say like, make sure it's due in 15 days or whatever, or like anything about overdue payment stuff. We changed it to basically saying like, hey, we'd really appreciate if you paid us this invoice within 15 days so we can pay our employees and our suppliers and make sure we keep our quality up for you, like kind of thing like that, right?
We need to put somebody. That's always, because that's what I've always thought about. Like these people understand, like we got to pay our people.
Right. Well, make your customers part of the team too, right? So like even in like newsletters via email or whatever, like show them the new team members, show them like stuff you've done, show them the goals of the company. Like that should make them part of like, I want Mastercuts to win. Yeah. Right? Then they go to that bat and they'll share your name, referrals and stuff. And then when you do hiccup or make a mistake, they'll be much more accommodating, right? And then also they'll pay their bill like that. Because they want the guy, like if they start making relationships with Joe and Bill who mow their lawn, they want them to get paid. They might not know you and care about Mastercuts even, but they want them to get paid. They're cool dudes, right? So make sure like your payment pays those guys, right? And then usually like after 30 days of being overdue, then you start like, hey, again, we're pretty soft. We'll be like, you probably missed this and we know you're busy. Just making sure you know that this is overdue. When it hits 60 days, hey, we're gonna stop service next week if this isn't paid. If that doesn't get their attention, we are gonna stop service. If you still haven't paid, going to collections after 90 days.
So you do still start to collect
After 90.
No. Like if you don't see it after 90, there's a really good chance you're never seeing that money. No, I mean like anything over 3,000 now.
You get a third of it.
We get 50%.
You get 50%. It's not a bad idea. It shows that they're committed.
It shows they're committed, and you can schedule, right? You know they're going. That's non-refundable.
Yeah.
Once they're on the schedule, we say how we sell it It's a way for us to follow up. Say, hey, I'm following up with you because we're booking out. We just need the 50% to get you on the schedule, right? That 50% doesn't do anything but get them on the schedule. It also pays for materials, labor, and everything else, right? So you can go into the job, again, from the sake of collections, all your expenses are paid.
The rest of it, yeah.
Right? Instead of going in, doing a bunch of like $2,000-$3,000 worth of costs. Yeah. You don't want to become a bank, right?
That's what our accountants told us.
Yeah.
So y'all basically turn it into a finance company.
Right. And so you don't want to get so big you lose out on the personalization, because they're buying because of you, right? They're buying because of how great you are and your knowledge and all that. So you want to keep that, but then automate it. Create systems, whether it be how to estimate, how to schedule, how to automate the follow-up process instead of just keeping the notes, right? Like, oh, I sent estimate so-and-so 3 days ago, right? And so automation is like how you get from here to like,
What was that program called?
A service autopilot is it's an investment. Like you're gonna pay, Lawn Pro is like $250 one time, right?
I actually think you gave us that for free.
Oh yeah. The course members get spoiled. So like it's like nothing, right?
But that did change the way we were doing things.
Right.
I mean, we were doing it off a spreadsheet.
You will save so much time by having Service Autopilot. Right now you have like Excel spreadsheets, you have Lawn Pro, you have QuickBooks, you have timesheets, T-sheets, and you're switching to something else. Like it's all there, right? So like on Service Autopilot, this is what it looks like for the guys. So when they show up to work each day, they clock in from here, and it's also integrated with the jobs they're doing. They clock in and out of each job so that you can see every minute, like track every single minute. You know which jobs are doing really good, which jobs are not doing good, right? Like right now, you just got it on paper. You don't know how long they're at one job. Like she was saying, sometimes crews take like 8 hours at a job, and then another crew can do it in like 4 hours, right? So on here, I'm gonna go to my Monday schedule when I get back, which is gonna be nuts probably, 24th. So 24th, it's loading. So if I wanted to clock in, I'd click my face, which I'll do in a second here. So, come on. So these are all my jobs for the day. Right there, right? This is exactly what they see on mowing route. So if I want to clock in, like I'm clocking for the day, I'm officially clocked in. That is marked it on my timesheet. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna go to my first job. Cool. I got my notes. I can make comments to the office, which they'll see right away, and I can also take.
We were just talking about. Keep going.
Yeah, no. So like, you can take pictures if like something gets damaged. I have an estimated time, so they know how long that job should take. It's really important because some people will take 5 hours, some take 2, but hey, the expected is you should be done by 3 hours. Yeah. Having them something to kind of timeline themselves up against. I can click here and click map, opens up the GPS and automatically will take them there. So again, you can put
take them to the location.
Yeah, so it'll do it right now. So it's taking me to Bellingham, which is going to like 20,000 hours away, but it takes me right there, right? So it's again just trying to minimize how much they're talking to you and all the like back and forth the office, like that sort of thing. And then when they get to this job, they click start job, and it's right away tracking time, and then you'll be able to have a report at the end of the month saying, okay, this is how much time it should have taken, charging our hourly rate. This is how much time it did take. Okay, 20% of our customers are way like behind. Like this is what we just did. We just raised prices on 15% of our mowing clients because we looked at all the charts for the whole year and said, what are like the least performing dollars per man hour based upon the clock in times? Don't clock in.
So they even did that when they pull up to a yard.
Every single job.
Cut a grass, even to just cut a yard.
What's cool is this. So like when I click start and then I click stop, this one's gonna disappear. Then it goes to the next one. So they just have to look at the next job. Start, stop, start, stop.
All right, that makes sense. What does he see?
He's gonna see a lot more on the desktop version, right? He's gonna see what's called the dispatch board, where he's gonna see all their jobs and then any notes that they have put on there. So
you can immediately email the customer or talk to the customer
immediate.
based on those.
It's all immediate, and he can actually put a job comment back to them. Like they literally
get a notification.
They'll get a notification, and then what's the best thing about it is you put the price per mow, for instance, into their service when you create the visits for the whole year. As they're marked complete, it makes an invoice. And at the end of the month, you just click send.
And so there is no her or them having to go into QuickBooks and do it.
Never.
1,500 different emails.
No.
Wow. What's that again?
Service autopilot.
Now, what's the kicker is? What is the price? I mean,
Yeah, so it's basically
it saves time though, and money.
it's only $80 a month, but then there's all the add-ons. So every single employee that gets a new profile, it's like $10 a month. You know, if you do Maps Pro, which you start using the square footage thing, it's like $50 a month. So all these little things. It's like we pay $700 a month for our software for them. So we have a bunch of people, we have office people, like they charge more for all that. Worth every single penny.
It sounds like it. I mean,
It's probably worth 2 employees.
it saves time tremendously just by what you just showed.
Yeah.
Because them calling me and having to check notes or that paper handout.
Well, think about like what you pay on QuickBooks. Think about what you pay for T-sheets. Think about like all of that. But the time, man, it saves you so much time.
That makes sense.
So, right? Like I think you're great. Like, dude, you have all the potential, like everything you need because you can do sales. Like that's that's 90% of the lawn care owners I talk to. They don't have that, but they have everything else, right? You have everything you need to like make it big. Like 2 million easy. Like don't ever think you need another partner to do it. You know, I'm not saying Cass or Stuart. I'm just saying don't bring someone else in because you think you need help somewhere. Like you have all the skills you need. And that's not common for landscape business owners. And like I told Josh within 10 minutes of meeting you, like he's a rock star. He's really good.
I mean, I enjoy it. I wake up every day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah. And it's super rewarding when you can be pumped up about it and not have the stress when you go away from it because you need that time to think about, like that video thing came when I walked away from the business for like 3 hours. I was like, I'm really stressed out. I just need 3 hours. And they say, okay, we'll cancel all your appointments. And I went de-stressed. I was thinking about the business the whole time. I came up with the video thing, right? Implement it next day, and it's like, oh my word, our conversion ratio went up by 30%.
Wow.
So like, you gotta have that time to work on the business, right? And so if the other partners are all about like growing and scaling, say, look, in order for this to happen, I've gotta be selling. That's what I'm good at, and that's how the company's gonna grow. That's what 90% of lawn care business owners can't do is sell. They don't know how to connect with the customer. They don't know enough to like sell someone on a project, get the money down, sell them the property, look them in the eye. Like they can't. After lunch, I wanted to see exactly how Cass and Chris did their estimates. So we went out to one of their jobs at one of the prospects that had called and asked for a job to be completed. And this particular client was wanting a patio area in their backyard, about maybe 1,000 square feet worth of landscaping and some paver patio areas. So we went ahead, went inside their house. Cass and Chris were talking to her, explaining what the project would look like, how the job would roll, and exactly what the ramifications and specifications she wanted done on the job. And so the reason I did this exercise with them is I then wanted to compare how I do estimates versus the way that Mastercuts has done estimates and see what the efficiency in terms of time getting that estimate back to the customer was, but also seeing I wanted to see if there was a system behind the way they came up with their number. Did they do any measuring? Did they come up with a system for the number of hours or the amount of material they would need to complete this job and get a number that they could stand behind and then present to the customer in a professional manner? We could do that for $7,815.
20 grand.
Yeah, and we would make, I could do the exact number, but we would make about $3,000 in that.
Wow. How many people?
2 people.
Oh shit. That's 6.
Well,
There's why
this is the thing. So this is the thing. Look at your plan.
Yeah.
Like you got 6 people going through less than 3.5 feet, right? So like you're not gonna be able to move material through that fast. You can only do 2 people, 3 people max. That small of a space you can't. Really?
Can I ask how much you're paying your 2 skilled? That's somewhat skilled.
They're gonna be between $20 and $25 an hour.
Yeah, that's what you're paying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here, let me show you. Walk me through how you're thinking about it first.
I just went through. I said it was going to take us about a week.
Okay.
around
60
hours.
Mm-hmm.
So at $40 a man, you know, 7,200. Mini.
Whoa, stop. So you got labor for 60 hours, 60 man hours, or 60. It's gonna take
total hours. That's where I messed up. You go. 2,400. Hold on now. That's where I messed up.
This is cheating.
No, I mean,
You've looked at the book.
Stuart, I have my Excel sheet over here. I don't have my computer. 'Cause y'all won't build my office.
So that brought down about $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah, 11,000.
Cool.
469.
Cool. All right, so you got 60 hours, and you got 4 men, so a total of 240 hours, and you times that by what?
40. No, 60 hours total.
Okay.
So actually, it'd be per man.
But so are you gonna have 6 men on the job?
Yeah.
So you think one day you'll knock it out?
No, a week. So 40 hours.
But,
times 240.
but see, you're charging for 60 hours. Like what you had before is actually correct.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So it was 19,000 because you got 60 hours times 4 or times 6.
That's right.
So 360 times your labor rate.
That's correct.
Okay. So then the 19 is correct. Okay, cool. So then you got labor for that. You had 60 hours budgeted, and you had 6 people there the whole 60 hours, so basically the whole week.
That's correct.
So then continue down.
Then I had to rent the mini X, $355 a day for 2 days, excavation,
Okay.
dirt, the pavers. That was our cost.
Yep.
1,000 in materials.
Where's the 480? 487?
Yeah.
So it's what's the actual cost from Belgard?
When I looked it up earlier, it was 418.
Cool. So you're just charging 70 cents. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then the rock, I estimated that I would need. This is where I may be up 36 yards.
Whoa. Okay. 36 yards at $50 a piece. Okay.
1,800.
Okay.
And then the landscaping, all the plants and stuff, 1,250.
Okay.
What did I have? 400 over here. Oh, for the walking path on both sides.
Cool.
And then this 30% here is what I just marked it up 30%.
What was your labor rate?
$40.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so let me walk you through mine. And then, so basically this is what I would create for the office.
Yeah.
And so this stuff down here is, like I wouldn't usually, but this is the exact verbiage that I would have done for that estimate. You can take a seat, pull that across. So this is what I would send to the office, and this is the exact verbiage that's going to go on the estimate as well as on the job work order. Because this is not only for the client, this exact verbiage is what is going to be used by the crew manager. He will be able to install this entire job if I show him this for 5 minutes.
Really?
Yep. So we got our plan here. So when I'm numbering this off, I want the client to be able to read this like a book, like the job is happening. Yeah. All right, number 1, clear all pine straw and debris and haul it up. Cool. Next, we got to excavate the soil for the paver base. Next, we actually got to install the pavers. I'm going to assume it's Belgard grade double and cobble with a gran and sand base. I'm going to install 5/8- gravel pathway and pine straw on the beds. Like, did you include pine straw?
I did not include pine straw.
Install plants according to specification of master plan. Cost of plants not included in this estimate. Wholesale cost of plants will be added to the final invoice. So the cost of the plants themselves, not the installation is. Number 7, amend the soil around plants with 2 yards of compost. So in my mind, I'm building the job. I'm like, okay, so they're going to do this, and they're going to do this, and then I start doing costs. So what we do for our office manager, our office people, is they know everything within double parentheses is costs. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to need pavers, 1125. So we assume 250 square feet, because there's gonna be cuts and overages and things like that at $450 a piece. So like we're probably over by like $200. Yeah. Save ourselves on delivery, whatever, right? $100 for pine straw. I have no idea what pine straw costs. 5 yards of 5/8- will easily do those pathways, as well as 2 to 3 inches of compacted gravel underneath the bottom base. And then 2 yards of sand, we'll probably use 1.5 yards, but I'm just gonna do 2 yards. 2 yards of compost for around the plants, we probably use 1 yard. 96 hours is 6 days at 2 guys on the job the whole time, and 8 hours a day. So 16 times 6, right? Day 1, this is how then I think about it. To get that hourly, this is how I think about it. Okay, I literally start walking through this in my mind. Okay, the first day is going to take a day of excavation. The next day we're going to do base prep. That's going to be like the gravel and the sand. The next day next 2 days we're going to install the pavers. And the next day after that we're going to install the plants, the gravel, and the pine straw. 2 guys, this is easy. This is like, if I really wanted this job, we could cut that a day off of that. Really? We could get that down to 80. So if you get that job, you would make an absolute killing. That, or she orders some foreign plant that costs $5,000 and you're really toast. Yeah. Right? So that's why, like, the reason I put this all the time, the cost of plants is not included in the estimate, is because then you could have taken this said, hey, yes, think about this, yes, talk to your kids, but here's the price, and the next call that you get from her is either a yes or a no on the whole project. Mm-hmm. You don't have to get a yes from her, then you make an estimate and spend 2 days, you're getting an estimate, right? Then you have to go back and sell her on the project again. You know? So like yesterday when we left that appointment, if you're able to give her this, obviously in a nice estimate form, but basically the office can copy and paste this and put this number in that line item. Budget, exactly. Basically. Yeah, and then, well, I would give that, if you were going to her, I'd give it to her in person and then say, hey, it's going to be in your email tomorrow. And then basically say, we have a spot, when I go to a job and I'm already have plans, I want to have a date scheduled for the job. So I said, we have you on the schedule for, you could say, September 29th, but we're going to leave that reserved. Obviously, talk to your kids. We'll leave it on the schedule, but we'll contact you a few days in advance just to make sure you're ready to go for it. And if you're not, that's totally fine. Yeah. That way, in her mind, it's like they're scheduled, they're coming, this is the price. Because if she's thinking that this whole project is going to cost $7 to $10 grand, and you come in at 19, you've wasted a couple days of making an estimate, right? Whereas this, it's not the most accurate. Like, I didn't even worry about going through the plant list and everything. But it's going to give her a rough estimate, and I'm not going to lose my shirt because of the plants, right? Like, I budgeted a whole day to plant them, right? So the wholesale cost, so they feel good about that because they feel like they're saving money. So you can tell them, hey.
So you put that on there?
Oh, yeah, I'll give them a receipt if they want.
For the plants?
Yeah.
You don't even mark the plants.
But like the main thing is that you have those 7 steps just like that. Yeah. Because when you go to her, she knows that you know exactly the process of the job. She can read it from 1 to 7 and know exactly what's happening. And then you've remembered things like amending the soil, the plants are coming. Like just walk through the whole job.
We do on like the last one. We broke down exactly the steps we're going to do. Like the wall job.
Jobs that way pretty well now. Step 1 is this.
We're going to come in here and do this. We're going to do this. This is going to be the next step. They get kind of a breakdown.
Yeah. Like if I need an estimate, like speed is going to beat accuracy every time in this game. Like if you're doing an estimate of a big install, not so much a maintenance on a developer because they're going to like wait for 3 quotes, but like most residential, if they have the money and they want to do it, if you're fast. Like so, for instance,
and she is, and she's ready. Yeah, she needs to talk to her, her kids. But I'm almost embarrassed to say now, we've been dealing with her for a month now because we go out there and talk to her, then we get the landscape architect to come in, then it's a week for him to get the plans back, and
you want to control the speed of the transaction, right? That's the goal of doing it so fast. You want to control the speed because if you put it in the customer's court, they're just gonna wait until literally they wake up one morning like, oh, I should do that. Yeah. So you want to control the speed of the whole thing. So like when we get a phone call, we're trying to get an estimate within an estimator there within 12 hours, and so that happens, and we always try to meet them. And within 24 hours of them calling us, we want an estimate in their inbox. Yeah. And so
after the 12 hours, then the next 12 hours, you're doing the estimate.
And then the 24 hours after that, we want to have a yes or no. And if they're like, we need to think about it, fine, great. We'll follow up with you next week, and we have you on the schedule for this date. And then we'll follow up with you next week to make sure everything is good to go. Like you want to control the speed. And if it takes you 2 weeks to get there for the bid, they're expecting it to be another 2-3 weeks till they get the plans, and then another 2-3 weeks to get an estimate, 2 or 3 weeks to get on the schedule, and then the job takes 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Which puts you much closer to this isn't worth it, or just let's not do it yet.
Right, and right now it works because like right now you've only done several of them, and so it's like it's new and you take a lot of time in the prep process. But when you have 20 estimates a day, which it'll get to as you go to the company, you have to be able to pump stuff out like this.
We're good at pumping out, mowing.
I feel like the last few weeks we haven't because.
Well, I haven't had time to go.
That's because you're having to be on the job too much.
If I can I could go up to Stewart's yard and tell them what I'm going to exactly what I would charge you for. Yeah. On cutting. Installation, we're getting there. Yeah. But a lot of these people want these plans. Right. Like they don't. Some people will take the hand drawn thing or just. it's kind of hard to sell them. Sometimes they want to see it.
Yep.
To visualize, like Mark. I mean, he wanted these plans. I kept telling him we could do this without plans, but he wanted to see the plans.
Yeah, as long as they're willing to pay for it, right? Yeah. I'd just say that once you have the plans, there should be a price tag right to it, right?
Basically, we can hand Burgess the plans, and the plans are there. I show up, direct him in the direction we want to do, and I leave.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the whole Cleary thing by himself.
Like, do you think you could get everyone to be that way, though? I think you could.
Yeah.
If we did everything you talked about yesterday.
You gotta sit down and talk to him.
Because, like, all the, like, this is a little more technical, but, like, planting trees, planting sod, like, all that stuff, they need one time to be shown how to do that.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's all about, like, do they have the work ethic to just do it?
Exactly.
Right? And communicate with the office and communicate with the customer. Like, that stuff can be taught super easily. It's the work ethic part of things, right? And, like, are they bought into the team and do they know how that kind of rolls?
And that's something we have never done. The only thing we've ever done is with the supervisors, like we talked about. Once a month, we have steak dinners over your house, and we talk about...
Like we were talking about yesterday, like, really trying to get buy-in from the guys.
The whole crew, the whole team, not just the supervisor.
I was thinking earlier, the culture you have and the culture we have, like, in the business, is completely different.
It can be changed, but, like, we're just starting to get recognized for it. Like, I just showed Josh, we got a magazine wrote about our company, the culture and stuff like that, and interviewed all the employees. But it pays dividends. And, like, at first, it's a lagging indicator. Like, at first, you're like, why are we paying extra money on this? Why are we doing all this? Take extra time to train people, to talk to them, to care about them. But, like, there's no one that works for me right now that I would say, like, I wouldn't trust them to do that job. Not a single person. Even the ones that have been there a few weeks, I just need to check in on them. There's the ones who have been here more than 6 months, like Aaron, who's managing the job while I'm gone, has never seen the job before I got there. I just did a video for him, and he's going to see it and do the entire job, which is bigger. It's about this size, actually. The one's over on Semyama Shore. It's about that size. And he's been here 7 months. He'll do it no problem. Right?
Yeah.
And if he has questions or stuff, he'll like figure it out, and I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with that. And I know it's not going to be perfect,
So
but
he'll
he'll
be blowing your phone up. He'll talk to the officer.
Yeah,
He'll Google it. Wow.
Yeah. And so he'll communicate with the office who has never seen the job, and they'll figure it out, right? But, like, to be perfectly honest, like, I was telling him yesterday, like, at the team meeting yesterday, there's no connection.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There's no connection between employees and you guys. Like, there's none. And so you'll get work out of them as long as they need a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right? And if they don't need a paycheck, they won't show up to work, and that's what the problem you're having.
Yeah.
And I think the big part too is when the A players are seeing a big turnover, they get discouraged. Like, the worst thing you can do to a team player is to have B's and C's coming through the company. They'll just get tired of it and they'll leave. Like, even like that team meeting yesterday, what you said was perfect. It was awesome. Like, I would say that in a heartbeat about the 10%.
Yeah.
They just weren't feeling it. They weren't.
There was no connection.
Their head was down. I see that a lot too.
And one of the biggest indicators for a landscaping company at first is who, like, did people show up to work, right? And the problem is this: is it's like, well, do I discipline and like fire them for not showing up? Well, all of a sudden I have no crew because I need work done, and I'll just put up with the behavior because I need the work done. And then well, do I just fire people or do I get like anger and make rules? And that's not the way to do it. Like, you have the rules in place to protect you legally. Like, we have a 30-page handbook, and you can see on the course. Just go to the downloads. Okay. 34 pages. And it's there, and I've never looked at it. But, like, everyone knows it's there, and it'll protect us legally if I need to fire someone. But, like, if someone's late to work, they're gonna razz that person like crazy.
Like the crew, the team.
Crew will. Oh, yeah. And they will know when they show up. Because everyone else has been there 20, 30 minutes before loading up the trucks, ready to roll out the door. And if they're 5 minutes late, they'll hear about it.
So when they show up 20, 30 minutes early, they clocking in and starting?
Loading up trucks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the moment they come, they're clocked in.
So you're fine with people showing up if you're leaving at 7:30, if they get there, 6:45 and start, as long as they start working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they know too. Like, there was a team meeting when I was gone. The team got together, and there was 4 or 5 of them that spoke at the team meeting. And they're on top of each other about talking too much in the office after work. I never say that, but they'll say it to each other.
Wow.
Like, right? Like sticking around and shooting shit, just bullshit.
Yep. And they're saying, hey, if you're here and someone else pulls in, you better be helping that person. I didn't tell them to say that. I didn't give them an agenda for that meeting, right? And it's not one person. It's not my project managers. I got people who have worked there like 2-3 weeks saying stuff, right? Like, I'd really challenge you guys to not talk at your team meetings. Have other people do it. But like when someone's get hired, 100% trust and commitment to them. Like, as if they're the greatest person in the whole world. They've worked for you 10 years. Let them mess that up, right? Don't you be the one like standing back and be like, you gotta earn trust. Like, who are we as owners? Like, you gotta earn anything.
I totally think we were doing this with Joffrey, and he just made a bad. This is one of the guys who got caught smoking weed on the job. And I don't think he'd have done it if he wasn't offered by somebody else. But it's that whole peer pressure thing.
Yeah.
You were really pouring time into him, and we were as a whole. And he knew nothing, but he wanted to learn, and he was, gung ho. I feel like he'd have run through a brick. Well, but then sometimes he didn't have a car, so sometimes he wouldn't show up. That's, I guess, a whole nother thing. But I think we sent him on a weekend to pull weeds all day, and he was the sort of the leader of 2 other people. And I checked in on them. They didn't know when I was coming by. I checked in on them a couple times, and it was in the rain once. Mm-hmm. And they were, every time I went over there, they were bent over pulling weeds out of this commercial complex. So
we've done a little bit of it, but we haven't never taken time to. I'm terrible at it. I'll be the first one to tell you, because when I show up, all I think about is we got to go, we got to get this done, But that's the job for the same guy who sat there and just talked for 30 minutes about BS, and I mean he bought in. Because I want to learn that skid steer. I want to be able to drive that truck. I want that to be my crew.
Someone's either in or they're not, right?
Yeah.
Like it's totally binary as far as if someone's like in it for the long haul and ready to commit, or they're not, right? And if they go and smoke on the job and they know it's policy, they're not in.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they might want to learn the thing to like make some more money or whatever, but like
Or have some status.
right, like there's got to be, it's so powerful when you get to that place. Because like the number one thing we were talking about yesterday is the number one thing for this company to grow is for him to be able to do sales full time, right? But in order for that to happen,
100%.
he has to trust the guys, and that's just not there. Like we don't trust him to do the work correctly. We don't trust him to be like not smoking. We don't trust them to.
Well, I trust them. I trust them now on the mowing side, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get them mowing, and with Burgess too.
But even with like the 4, if someone takes half a day, someone else takes a full day, right?
Yeah.
For mowing, right? So like, do they like they should be able to
when
know
I say
how
I trust them to be able to get the job done.
Right.
Do they do it as fast as I wanted to get done?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But again, they're not the owner, so they don't see the vision and all that. But again, if we opened the books and told them, maybe they would step it up, like, hey, guys, let's knock this out and get to the next job, so maybe make the company more money, and then we're able to get these things.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So what happens? I mean,
Yeah, tell me why you don't want to share numbers.
This is what he explained, and I thought it was a great idea. It was something we even talked about. He said one things he was wanting to do is take some of the profits or some of the money or whatever in the pickle jar, however you described it, to build a putting green. For the guys. We also said the same thing about doing it up front, and the guys always talk about how cool that is, how cool we put a tee box back here to hit to the par 3. Well, if we open the numbers and say, look, until we can get this right, or here's, if we want this green out here, we need to step our game up, bring overtime down, put more money into the bank account to pay for this, and then when we have the capital of such, then you'll see the dream come true. That means we're on goals, right?
Yeah, like I don't look at our timesheets hardly at all. Like the office takes care of that. But when I do, I know there's people clocking out before they hit overtime because they know it's going to cost us more.
That's crazy.
And so that's someone who's bought. And I don't tell them, I don't thank them necessarily. You just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, like, okay, yeah, they're in. Like they know what's going on here. And so
our guys are driven to hit overtime.
Right. Right. So like
common.
Yeah, I mean
it's really
around here.
So I mean, what do you think would happen when the day? I mean,
why don't you want to share numbers?
Well, this
Tell
is
it. I can't even understand why.
I mean, I see the benefit of it. I don't know, it's just something I've never been in a place that does.
Right.
So I'm just never.
That's why you gotta be different. Like that's how you're gonna attract great talent.
Yeah.
If you do everything like everyone else in this labor market, they're gonna go to the oil. They're gonna go get a trade. They're gonna do something else.
Right.
And then it becomes how much do you pay? How much do you pay?
Do you think it would be different? I mean, we want a franchise and stuff. I don't know that I don't know that our goals are what your goals are. But I mean, I know. I mean, seriously, long term, and a big reason we wanted to bring Stewart on is because in 5, 10, whatever years, we want to have an office. Sort of. I think we want to be more Olive Branch, Tupelo, maybe Grenada, maybe Jackson. Regional, not necessarily nationwide, but regional. I don't feel like we can do that now because we don't have the perfect model yet. We're not there yet, but we want to get there. but I feel like we also want to make money. I mean, I want to be paid for the time I'm putting in here too.
Yeah,
but I mean, and I don't think, I know I'm not. I doubt he is. Is a point where we can say, okay, like, how much different would it have been for you on the front end if you knew you didn't want to go nationwide, and you would show them that I'm making, whatever. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you don't think they would care that you were making $100,000 a year or something like that.
Well, if I was pulling money out of the company,
Yes.
If I was pulling money out of the company, I would tell them. And there's nothing ashamed about that. That's the name of the game. Like, it's a scorecard, right? I would just make sure that, like, if I was pulling a lot more out of the company, I would raise compensation, big time. And I'd offer full-time healthcare benefits, like everything.
Which you don't now.
Which I don't. Not full-time, not full coverage, no.
Do you split it or something?
No, we just do an accident policy right now. And then over the winter, we're adding, like, gym benefits.
Isn't that what we do?
We have an accident policy.
Yeah, we do, like, gym, and we're going to start working on, like, paid time off and life insurance. So that's what we're working on now. But, like, if I was taking money out, this is the thing, though. If I was taking money out, they would expect the way that I am to be looking a lot harder at compensation. And when they do ask, like, at offsites, I ask them to challenge me with stuff. And they'll, like, say, hey, why aren't we getting this? Or, like, why is this happening? They'll challenge everything within the company. And I want that. And because if I'm gonna let them attack me, challenge me, I can challenge them. Like, why didn't you show up yesterday? And they'll know that they could do the same thing to me if I'd let down on something, right? So, like, at the offsite, it's a vulnerable position to be in. Be like, hey, ask anything. Like, they can ask me whatever they want, right? And they'll challenge me, like, hey, why don't we get paid for holidays when we're off? And so you have to explain, look, but when I can go back to the dollars and say, hey, this is where the money's going. We're building up a cash reserve this year, so we kept the profit in the bank account because now we have a bunch of families depending on this company, and we need to have that. Oh, okay. And then, oh, by the way, every single winter when you have your review, we're looking at what can we afford for you and how can you get to that next spot, right? And so, like, last winter, the big thing that we did, because every year we try to work on the compensation plan together. Last year, the big thing was we changed the model to when they start there at 15, they're guaranteed to go to 18 after 1 year, guaranteed to go to 20 after 2 years. And if they do great and amazing, they'll get there within 5-6 months maybe, but they're guaranteed after 1 year 18, after 2 years 20. That was the big thing last year. This coming winter will be the benefit thing.
How does what you're paying compare to what your competitors pay?
Higher, yeah. We're about $3 to $4 higher. But
you can afford it.
Yeah, and I know the people that are on staff that could probably get 30, 40 somewhere else. And we've lost one person this year he finished his degree and became an electrician, but he still came to, like, an event we had as a team several weeks ago. Right? So they are so bought in, right? I'll let you read this, actually. This is good. This is a message from one of our project managers. He's worked with us for a year, and then he just got engaged. So he needed to finish up one more semester of school at Chicago, and so he knew that if he just waited until after he got married, he'd never get it done. So dude, just get it done now. So he left, right, at our busiest season, right when we were coming into the fall. I'm sick, but he went and left. Well, he texted me this morning. Lee Park. So he's at school right now, and he just said, "Hi, Mike. I just wanted to say thanks for all you have taught me. I am helping co-run our intramurals at school. By no means anything overly stressful, but I have implemented so many things that you have taught me and shown me how to do better. Students have already told us how much smoother intramurals is being run this year. I even have the refs doing the above and beyond challenge, which is a challenge we do at our shop. I'm so excited to come back to Augusta, a better leader and better learner. Hope you guys are killing it." So that's what we're trying to build, right? And you can do it. It just takes a lot of vulnerability and being open with the guys. And I would let them just tear into you because I think they're bottling up. I know what they're thinking right now. I know.
Sure. Yeah.
And I would be really open and honest about the financial side because I, as an employee, if I knew he was making $200 and I'm making $400 a week, I'm sick. He works harder than I do, right? And then all the pressure, be open with how much you owe in this place.
Yeah.
Right? There's no, what, is it going to knock your pride because your employee knows that the company has a bunch of debt? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change.
Thing, right?
It doesn't, yeah. So they would buy in 100% more if you just shared that. But the buy-in from the employees solves all the problems. Because once that's solved, he can trust him on a job. He can go get more sales,
And
right?
you get more done.
And then he can grow the company.
Be way more efficient.
Right. But like I know for right now, that's how they think about you guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like even yesterday when we pulled up to him, like personally, I never ever try to drive up on the guys. Park the truck and get out. Like, 'cause if we pull up in an air-conditioned vehicle and they're sweating like crazy, like I almost got out yesterday, 'cause I just can't even handle it, right? And then like we have to put ourselves in their shoes, and 'cause like if they think you're making a bunch of money and you roll up on them like we did yesterday, I would not want to work for someone like that. Even if you're a great guy, just the impression of like someone pulling up and being like, "Hey, you smell like work," I'd be like, "Yeah, and you don't. I'm out." Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like that. You have way more stress than anyone working here, and you don't make as much money, right? But if they don't see that, the impression in their like they have a completely different thing in their mind. Because when you say you got to give 10%, be the 10%, they know you are, because you're committed 110%, right? But like I look at the financials of the company, and like I run it through a thing that I have when I get financials from a company, and like rank it on vulnerability, and you're like an 8. On my little thing I made myself, which is fine. It just means you got to scale fast to recoup a lot of the debt stuff, right? Like the debt stuff is like I would be freaking out my brains, like the debt with the fact that there's not much in the bank, right? That balance, and then we talked about receivables yesterday. That's a big thing too, but that's just an ongoing issue that you got to cut down on, and that helps with cash flow. But like your ratio of debt to like how much in the bank, like I would not be sleeping. Like I couldn't even handle it. Like that's part of why this year, like at our offsite, we explain how much money we're putting aside in keeping in the bank account a lot higher. Because like I can't handle the fact that I have a bunch of people working with kids, and I couldn't pay them for 3 months without if like something happened to the company. Like vulnerability, when I talk about that, it's like literally could 3 people leave tomorrow and you still be operating, or like could Chris get sick for 3 months, and the company still run? Like that's vulnerability, right? And if you can't. Like as you grow, you're able to put people in positions where they can cover for other people, and you're less people dependent, more systems dependent. But like, from a financial standpoint, like I would be scared out of my mind.
No, there's no doubt.
Right? And when you're stressed like that,
some sleepless nights.
oh I know. And when you're stressed like that, you can't think about the company from a point of view of like creating systems. And it's not selfish to be like, I need an hour. I just need to walk away and think about the business from a holistic standpoint, right? But you can't when you're like fighting fires. But you got to if you can't trust the other people around you to do it, right? And I really look at this company. I think Chris is the driving force, right? Like you got your business. He's just a silent partner, really. Sure. And so, like he's the driving force. But that's vulnerability up to the max. Because if he goes sick, we're toast, right? Like who's gonna make the estimate? Who's gonna like make the sale? Who's gonna lead every single project that we're doing right now? Right?
No way. Yeah.
Like he has to be protected. Like literally. Like and if the guys know that, they'll protect them. Like the guys they know that if I'm like out shoveling or like doing something on the job, that's a waste of my time. Like not that I want to be out there sometimes, right? And I know he's gonna
we
feel
tell them
this.
that, but I don't think they believe that.
Well, whether or not they believe it, it's the fact that they don't think he needs to. They think, well, he should have to too. They don't know why. Like, what's the point of him not working? He's just gonna go in his truck and like go to lunch and just like bum around. But if they know like where the company's going and how we need to get there, so we talked at our offset. Like, I cannot be doing estimates next year, right? So I've trained one person. That's Lee, unfortunately. So now I gotta train Ben because Lee will come back and I need 2 estimators. Then I can really, right? And so they know that they'll buy into that, and Ben will get trained, and then they'll know, okay, if Mike's doing estimate, that is not a good thing. We need to figure out like why is that happening.
Yeah.
Because they know I need to be doing something else. It's like a football team we were talking the other day. Like the coach is on the sidelines. So like the defensive lineman can't be like, hey, the wide receivers go a bunch of wusses, but the wide receivers are like, you guys are a bunch of fat, lazy idiots, right? Everyone has their position on the team, and so it's wrong. Like the cheerleader has their place too, right? We all have the same objective to get the ball down the court, but like whether you're the coach on the sidelines calling the shots, or you're the quarterback calling the calls, and like you are the project manager making stuff happen, it doesn't like we're all trying to get the same place. And so what happens though is the guys on the field are like, the coach knows nothing what he's talking about. I was in the gym lifting 300 pounds and he's over there, he's 60 years old, he's washed up, right? Like that team's never gonna win.
Right.
You gotta respect the position of what they're doing, and it's wrong for the coach to get on the field. and start trying to play because he'd get ran over real fast.
Right.
And then the quarterback, the project manager, is going to get hit, right? So like one person in that team falls apart or is in the wrong spot, and things fall apart, right? And so like I see you as a great coaching team, and like that, like long term as the company grows, like a great coaching team, and but you got to figure out how to make your team play, right? Because right now you're bopping in and out on every single timeout.
Yeah.
You know. And so like the financial stuff, I'm not too worried about because you're growing so fast, and you'll eventually hit a point where it's like, okay, now we're good. But like you won't grow much more without changing stuff. Like from the team standpoint, you're just gonna keep cycling through guys, and you'll never be able to confidently project growth when you don't know you have a labor rate, right? Because at the end of the day, we sell time.
Right.
So if you don't have guys, you don't make money.
Right.
And so, like, that will fix itself though if you fix the culture thing, because those guys will go talk to everyone at that shop, and they'll say, hey, our company, you gotta come work for us. Or like when an A player from another company leaves because he's tired of working for the guy, he'll come and talk to your guys, and they're like, our guys are great, they're committed, they have a
we're
big...
getting some of that. We're getting people coming from other
We are.
companies now.
If someone's late to work, they're not bought in.
True, but and the ones who have come from other companies are generally not late. Generally not. Clay's not late to work, and he brings 3 guys.
Yeah.
He picks them up on his way in.
Yeah.
And Scott's not late. You know, and both of those guys came from other companies.
Burgess is here on time.
Burgess
Brady's here on time.
Yeah.
It's the guys that still, but it's the guys that we hadn't had the one-on-one and haven't told the future. They're here for a paycheck.
Yeah.
They're here for the paycheck.
I'd really push you guys to make it an environment where they feel they can come and say something negative about you. Right? Like, they can literally in a team meeting be like, hey, Cass, why weren't you here yesterday? Like, what were you doing? Like, they should feel comfortable to do that. Right? Because then you'll feel comfortable asking them the same question.
I think, like, the first thing we ought to do, seriously, is host a dinner.
Yeah.
We pay for it.
Yeah.
But we do, like Stuart said, do a PowerPoint of some sort, put it all out on the table, and basically find out over time, not mold them, but, see who wants to buy in and see that this is a future for them.
Thank you so much for watching episode 2 of Zero Turn. I hope that what we were talking about with Mastercuts, you're able to take some of those things, take some of those systems, those procedures, and really learn from them. One of the greatest ways for you to build your business is learning from other business owners what not to do and what to do when they are successful. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope there's something you can take away and implement in your lawn care business. We just released a book coming off of this whole video series. It's called Zero Turn, How to Build a Successful Lawn Care Business. You can buy it on Amazon. The paperback edition is now available, and I look forward to meeting you, whether it be at a conference, on the course, or answering your questions at landscapebusinesscourse.com. Make sure you check out the podcast, and I look forward to hearing from you.